Beginning your Atlas journey, we highly recommend optimizing the amount of higher tier maps you gain to force your progression up as efficiently as possible. This type of setup doesn't require many nodes and can be easily converted to your desired strategy later on with minimal effort. This tree cuts off relatively early and lets you branch out to the mechanic of your choice. This Atlas likely overloads on map sustain. You probably will not need quite this much map sustain, but with this, you should have at least enough. Atraz is doing this himself, as he prefers not to think about the league start. It is likely not the most effective way of progressing map tiers, but as previously stated, it should have all the map sustain. Staring at the massive, sprawling Atlas of Worlds after a grueling 10-hour campaign always brings a mix of sheer excitement and mild dread. Patch 3.28 is no exception. As someone who has dissected countless ARPGs, I sacrificed my entire weekend sleep schedule to map out these convoluted passive trees and the newly introduced nightmare map mechanics. If you are stepping into Path of Exile 3.28 as a newer player, staring down a screen full of nodes and for seemingly unreachable voidstones, this field journal, built from my own league start friction, will save you hours of frustration. The early mapping struggle. Many guides simply throw a finalized in-game Atlas tree at you, but honestly, that paint-by-numbers approach kills the best part of a league start, adapting your strategy to your immediate roadblocks. When I first hit the endgame this weekend, the most jarring sensation was the progression cliff. Pushing into Tier 5 maps didn't feel like a massive jump in monster difficulty, but my map sustain absolutely plummeted. I spent an entire afternoon running a dozen T4 maps without seeing a single T5 drop. That suffocating, stuck in the mud feeling forced me to completely rethink my early passive routing. The Atlas of Worlds is Path of Exile's in-game content system. The Atlas is a series of linked areas that players can progress through after completing the quest A Call to Arms for Commander Kirak. The Atlas is revealed and explored by running map items within a map device. The Atlas of Worlds represents a visualization of potential realities, referred to as dreams, visited by opening map items. The Atlas is comprised 100 different standard maps split among 4 quadrants, with each map being connected to each other by paths, as well as dozens of additional areas accessed via unique maps, map fragments, or miscellaneous map items. If you have currency to buy item upgrades, or the crafting materials to make them yourself, now is the time to do so. The first few map tiers are a lot more forgiving than the later ones, so you have time to get some of the required stats/gear. Just don't wait too long, or the difficulty curve will eventually catch up to you. However, every build is different, which means you need to follow your build guide's instructions and milestones. Your defensive capabilities depend on your build, but there are certain requirements in order to survive in maps. Capped resistances at 75% armor evasion energy shield scaling, depending on build bleed removal from your flask freeze removal from various sources. Damage scaling varies drastically depending on the build. Just be sure to follow your build guide's instructions and milestones. It is normal to deal less damage in maps than during the campaign since there is a significant increase in difficulty. Not only the stats on your items matter. Your sockets, colors, and links have to be set up correctly to actually use your skill gems. Don't wait on this one too long, and always think about it whenever buying/crafting items, since skill gems only level if they are socketed. The Atlas of Worlds is Path of Exile's core in-game system. It is a massive, interconnected web of alternate dimension maps accessed via your hideout's map device, where you progress through tiers, earn passive skill points, farm specialized league mechanics, and fight powerful in-game bosses. As part of the quest A Call to Arms given by Commander Kirak, the player is given a map, Tier 1, of magic quality. After acquiring this map item, the player can use it in a map device to open a map area. Clicking the map device will open the Atlas screen. Initially, only the center of the Atlas, with the beginning paths of the 4 quadrants, are shown. The 4 visible areas connected to the center of the Atlas are all accessible via this Tier 1 map, as all 4 of those areas are Tier 1 by default. Selecting one of the 4 areas will open the interface and allow you to place the map item inside. There are also spaces for map enhancers, discussed in more detail on that page. After placing a map of at least that area's tier inside and selecting Activate, Portals will open leading to the area. Your character can enter the portals to fight the monsters and loot the treasure inside. A call to arms is completed by defeating the boss of the area you entered. The most important skill to progress your atlas is knowing how to craft, roll, your maps. Maps can be crafted similar to items. You can make them magic with an orb of transmutation, rare with an orb of alchemy. Give them quality with cartographer's chisel, and even corrupt them with a vol orb. Crafting maps this way grants you positive and negative effects, with the positive ones helping you get more items and maps, and the negative ones making that map harder to complete. Increased item quantity of items found, a multiplier to how many items enemies drop. Note, item quantity granted by items does not increase map drops. Only the item quantity that you are granted from the map itself. The Atlas passive tree and the fragments used to enhance maps give you more map drops, increased rarity of items found. A redundant mod for any early game scenario, don't invest further into this. Increased enemy pack size, the strongest modifier you can have on maps. Enemy pack size grants you more enemies in maps to kill, meaning not only more loot, but also more experience and on-kill effects from your items and flasks. Detrimental map modifiers. These are mods that make your map harder, with generally annoying to niche downsides. How hard these mods are completely depend on your build. For example, enemies have a 50% chance to avoid poison. Impale and bleed is a completely irrelevant downside for many builds, but absolutely horrible for poison. Impale and bleed builds these modifiers get numerically harder depending on whether you run a white, yellow, or red map. The amount of map mods you have increases all the positive traits listed above, meaning the game is balanced around giving you extra loot for more difficulty, with a high amount of freedom in doing so. Always listen to your build guide on what to run and what to avoid. The Atlas is vast and intimidating. Knowing what to focus and prioritize has a huge impact on your in-game experience and long-term enjoyment of the game. Whenever you clear the map completion bonus of a map, you are rewarded with an Atlas passive point, which unlocks permanent bonuses for your Atlas rewards. You can tell whether you got the map completion bonus of a map by hovering over it on the Atlas directly, by pressing Alt while selecting the map, or by looking at it in the Map Stash tab, if you purchased one. As you progress through your Atlas, you will inevitably reach yellow maps, T6 and above. Once you do, you will be greeted by the Envoy and the Maven herself. Try to always have the Maven influence all your maps that she can, as progressing with her storyline is the way to unlock the 2 Eldritch Atlas influences, as well as gain more Atlas passive tree points. Each of her distinct invitations will grant you 1 Atlas passive point and 2 refund points. After you complete her first invitation, the Envoy and Maven will greet you in another yellow tier map and unlock either the Exarch or the Eater of Worlds influence. Which one you get first seems to be random. Whichever one you get, you will receive the other one fairly soon afterwards at random. Continue running yellow tier maps and progress further through the Atlas, utilizing effective investment strategies. Note, you will manually have to check which of the 3 buttons for the Exarch, Eater, Maven influences that are lighting up when you insert a map in the device. If Eater is grayed out and Exarch is lighting up, swap to Exarch, and vice versa. For yellow maps, the minimum investment should be. Now that you know what the Atlas of Worlds is all about, let's talk about progressing through Path of Exile's huge in-game map system. The Atlas of Worlds is complex and intimidating for new players. It's hard to know where to start or what goals to set. Over time, though, you'll love its depth as you push different in-game milestones. This article guides you through everything you need to know, from how to craft and complete your first map, to what awaits you in Path of Exile's vast network of in-game areas and bosses. After defeating the boss of the map opened for a call to arms, Commander Kirak will reward the player with a map device hideout decoration, which can be placed in the player's hideout to have a personally accessible map device. Completing one of the Tier 1 areas will reveal the areas connected to that area via paths. These connected area, or areas, will be Tier 2, requiring the player to acquire a map, Tier 2, or higher to access. Many areas on the Atlas, including all normal maps, have bonus objectives. For example, White, Tier 1-5. Maps have the bonus objective of killing the area boss while in a magic or higher rarity version of the map. Completing this bonus objective awards a skill point for the Atlas passive skill tree, which enhances the difficulty and rewards of the areas accessed via the Atlas of Worlds. The player can check bonus objective completion by hovering the cursor over an area. As you complete bonus objectives on your Atlas, you earn Atlas passive points. You can allocate these points on a dedicated passive tree to customize your endgame experience. These passives let you heavily specialize in specific content like Expedition, Harvest, Blight, Delirium, or increasing high-tier map drops and boss encounters. To permanently boost your odds of dropping higher-tier maps, you must complete the bonus objective for every map. The Atlas starts largely unrevealed. You progress outward or upward from starting nodes, and new maps typically only drop if they are adjacent on the Atlas tree to a map you are currently running or have already completed. Voidstones are in-game Atlas upgrade items socketed into your Atlas to raise map tiers up to tier 16. You can equip up to 4 Voidstones. Each socketed stone boosts map levels in its quadrant, turbocharges map sustain, and introduces a chance to drop high-end nightmare maps. Voidstones are items that enhance the Atlas of Worlds and are the successors to the previous Watchstone system. Each Voidstone applies an effect to all maps on the Atlas and the quadrant socketed to it. Voidstones also add a chance for nightmare maps to drop. Voidstones can be socketed to one of 4 slots located on each corners of the Atlas quadrants. Socketing a Voidstone into the Atlas will add the following effects. All maps in the Atlas gain an additional effect specific to the Voidstone, and Tier 16 maps have a chance to drop as a nightmare map instead. Maps on the quadrant the Voidstone is socketed to have their minimum map tier raised to 16, cause Tier 115 maps that drop in that quadrant to drop as 1 tier higher, and convert maps Tier 15 or lower that drop into gold. The chance for Tier 16 maps to become a nightmare map is cumulative with each Voidstone, resulting in a 6.4% chance with 4 Voidstones. With each Voidstone granting 0.4% for each Voidstone. This results in 1.6% per Voidstone times 4 Voidstones equals 6.4%. 3 Voidstones grant 3.6% total, and 2 grant 1.6% total. Behind each Voidstone sockets are side maps used to access special areas, such as Pinnacle Boss Arenas, Nightmare maps, Vault Key areas, and Valdo's Puzzle Box maps. These areas cannot be affected by astrolabes or be part of a memory thread. The Path of Exile endgame Atlas provides deep, customizable progression through passive trees and Voidstones, but final community thoughts highlight a split between rewarding high-end boss farming and a repetitive initial grind. As much as I love making guides, it is very crucial in a game like Path of Exile that you play the game the way you enjoy playing it. With that said, if you've made any tweaks to the trees compared to what I'm showing in this guide, I would love it if you shared them on the stream.